the whole.
Honestly, I just give them the exclusive because it won't make sense otherwise. I'm telling you that from a continuity
Oh
point of view,
man,
okay, my filming point of view.
continuity. This is why we need Kristen. She makes sure that I don't make weird decisions.
True.
I think you're okay. So Lexi Noelle and I have we so I originally I think I've told you this before, but there was a song that I was working on, and I went through two different people that were supposed to be the featured artists on this song, and then I was showing it to you, and I think I was telling you like, man, I cannot believe that I cannot get a singer for this song, and you were like, oh, this is so good, I want it, like, let me on that. um,
Yeah.
and I literally was just like, oh, okay, well, I mean, here's some time codes and whatnot of like what just play around and do whatever you want to do. um
Literally. Yeah.
and it's definitely if everything goes right, the song is supposed to come out in February of 2021. It's called Happier, um by me, AJ for short, featuring Lexi Noelle. And we've it's gone through a couple different stages, but we're working on getting it to its final
I'm
stages soon.
I'm very excited for that. Oh my goodness.
And then on the flip side, you've also got a song featuring me, so I guess tell people about that one a little bit.
Yeah, of course. It is, so the title is in all caps. The title is ANXTY, but that is like a short version of Anxiety. The song is called Anxiety. And what's really, really, what I wanted to share, and which is really funny, is AJ was making Happier when he was still like a student, and then I started making Anxiety this semester because now he's graduated. I'm the student, and now I'm going through the same process he went through our university to make a song. But what we both plan to do with these songs is to keep fine tuning them, to keep making them perfect for release. Because even though it was originally for a class, what I believe you need to do for like music is to really just make sure that everything sounds great and that it's perfect. And that's why it's taking a while for both of them to come out. But we promise you it'll be worth the wait for Happier and Anxiety. So Anxiety is my song, that's be AJ featured on it, and then I'm featured in AJ's song called Happier. And they both sound really dope so far. And Kristen, we'll send you the links to both. I think you've heard Happier. I'm not sure if you have.
I've it's actually really funny about this. Actually, speaking of songs, yeah, no, sometimes it's just really, I think this is really sweet because I feel like I'm like hearing this. AJ will sometimes just start sending me emails, or he'll just start telling me, he's like, hey, like, tell me what you think of this. And it's interesting because actually, like, it's weird. I think of music in a different way because of filmmaking. Sometimes I'm more on the musical composition side.
Right.
And so
yeah.
I will hear things, and sometimes when I tell AJ, it's not really coming from like, I'm also an artist. I'm just coming more from like, like maybe this bass is missing, or maybe this underlying, there could be a layer of this track in there. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, but it's also funny because sometimes I'm like, oh, this is really good. Like AJ's like, when it'll come out, he'll be like, oh, well, I'm working on this song right now. So
that's normally how. No, if I were to say to y'all how many songs I'm working on right now, I have like a handful. I probably have 10 songs right now that are in the works, but just unfinished because they're ideas that are started, but I have priorities. Like, I have a part-time job. I'm finishing up. Well, I just finished up this semester. That's the thing. Like, when it comes to music, what I love about it is you can really do it anytime you want, but you got to make sure that you aren't, missing like your bills you have to pay or anything. And that's why it's been kind of slow lately, but I'm just really excited to use this time over winter and the following semester and the summer to release more music, and for AJ to release more music as well, because I know that since like we've been all going through a transition, I know AJ just moved closer to me, even though like we went to school together. He was commuting from really far away, so now he's like really close, which is really, really awesome. So I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And with like the music that's coming in the future, Obviously, my song "Happier." It's not the most deep song in the world. It's about relationships and stuff. But and you can share like however much or as little as you want. But this song, "Anxiety," is something that means a lot to you. Do you want to kind of share why?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. So around the same time I grew up with, my talents such as video editing, singing, something I grew up with that's more of a challenge is actually anxiety. So dealing with anxiety is like dealing with a monster, I would say, it's kind of a fantasy way of saying it because monsters are like from fantasy stories, but it really is a great way to really describe it. And so hunger and anxiety, hunger's more about like a bad relationship, but I also incorporated anxiety in there on purpose because it kind of defines me in a way, but I try not to define anxiety in a negative way. I try to define it in a very artistic way, and that, it's okay that I have it. I'm just going to explain to you what it means. And that's what anxiety, the actual song, means, because and AJ wrote an amazing verse for his feature, and when I describe anxiety, it reminds me of like someone running away from a like monster that's trying to eat you. It's just really like it's a struggle. It's really deep stuff. But I feel like the easiest way for me to talk about deep stuff is through my art and through my music, through my voice and through my videos. Same as how Kristen is able to express herself, and AJ, you're able to express yourself through your rapping or your dancing and through your films. It's all of these, things relate to, having a voice and really speaking a deep message, since it's really kind of hard to just flat out say, hey, I have this issue going on in my life. It's very personal. It's very, it's much more like deep if you're able to express it artistically, because not only are you able to get your feelings out, but you're able to relate to other people who also have the same problems. So that's how anxiety came to be. Anxiety was also written around the same time as hunger, which was like last year. And I have some stuff I've been writing about quarantine and COVID that aren't even like, I haven't recorded anything yet because, I've been wanting to get those out first. So I thought that was just really intriguing, that it's really intriguing to be able to talk about deep stuff, but through, your passion, if that makes sense, because it's not really easy to talk about it, face first. It's very hard for a lot of people to do that, especially myself. I'm a very open person, so I don't mind talking about it, but I would much rather do it through my art and my singing, because, why not?